One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. This is your daily drop for the 14th of April, brought to you by Barbell Apparel. It's their 11th anniversary. It's buy two, get one free. You can mix match items, but you're going to get that third item, whatever the lowest cost item is, you're going to get that for free. The sale goes on until 28 April, so you still have a while, but not too much longer. You can pick up dress shirts, havoc shirts, or polo shirts, chinos, jeans, workout shorts, dress pants, anything that you need, graphic tees, anything that you need to make sure you're looking good and that you're staying fit. No promo code over there. Just let them know that we sent you by filling out the survey on checkout. Let them know that One's Ready sent you, and if not, hit other, write us in, get you some nice swag. Also, if you haven't heard, we have set up the next Operator Training Summit. This is going to happen in La Jolla, San Diego, California, on the 21st and 22nd of June. Expect you guys to be there on the 20th of June that evening so that we can start training bright and early that Saturday morning. If you would like to reserve your spot, leave a comment below or shoot us an email at jared@onesready.com and we'll get you added to the group chat and you can get all the details there. You can secure your spot. You can make your payment. This is not a hell week. This is not a smoke session or anything like that. I mean, you're going to be tired, that's for sure, but the whole point is to provide mentorship, instructorship, show you intentional training and how to increase your efficiency when it comes to doing underwaters, wall pushes, buddy breathing, mask and snorkel recovery. We're going to throw in some running stuff in there, some rucking stuff, any kind of mobility. And honestly, this is a steal right now. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like when you start thinking about some of the seminars that you go to that are 1 day or 2 day seminars with some of these people, like you're spending crazy amount of money. This one right now is only $450. Right? I think that's a steal, and I'm not made of money. So like, think about who you're getting there, right? And I'm not even talking about me. I'm talking about you've got Aaron Love, Trent Siegmiller, and Taylor Starch. Dude, you're talking about world-renowned Taylor Starch come to teach you guys mobility and running and stuff like that. Like, I mean, just Taylor Starch alone coming out to talk to you guys is way worth it. So anyway, check it out and join us. Like, don't miss it. And yeah, there will be more, but we don't have any planned right now. So yeah, and it's pretty easy to get into San Diego. All right. So if you guys aren't tracking, this is the news that basically we bring to you every day, and it's sent out and curated by Public Affairs Office for the Air Force, and they send it to all the commanders and all the chiefs just to kind of give an idea of what's going on across the Department of the Air Force. So this one will start with joint news. General Dan Cain, or Raisin Cain, was confirmed as the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, becoming the first Air National Guardsman in the role. With a 60-25 vote, he aims to leverage his entrepreneurial background and diverse military experience to modernize the Defense Department's acquisition process, which is absolutely broken. It is broken. I almost said beyond repair, but we'll see how well he's actually able to do it. Next, Raisin Cain's 9/11 decision-making. On September 11, 2001, General Dan Cain, as a mission commander, observed the critical decision to shoot down an airliner to avoid catastrophic consequences. His cautious approach during the crisis reflected his awareness of the potential national impact of such a choice. They ended up not shooting down the airline, but, I mean, you can imagine the internal struggle with whether or not to shoot down an airliner that you suspect or could potentially have been hijacked and then run into buildings. So next, Pentagon IT spending cuts. Defense Secretary canceled several IT service contracts saving an estimated $4.2 billion. Let me mute my other computer. This is crazy. Why is it going off? Sorry about that, if you guys can even hear that. Saving an estimated $4.2 billion, including deals with the Defense Health Agency and DARPA. He also ordered an audit of software licensing to ensure the Pentagon only pays for necessary licenses and features. Good. Save money. Save money where we can. I will say, though, I'm not a massive fan of just like, all right, no matter what your budget is and what the program is or whatever, cut it. Like, I'm not a fan of that. I think we have enough smart people and enough people that are like-minded to go into something and truly review contracts and go, man, we're not getting what we pay for out of this, or this is a waste of money. Let's cancel it. So, like I said, I'm happy that we're saving money. I'm happy that a lot of BS is getting cut, but at the same time, I'm not a big fan of just this taking a large sword and just cutting stuff. Acquisition reform push. A new executive order from President Trump directs the Defense Department to streamline acquisitions using flexible contracts like other transaction authorities, OTAs, to enhance speed and readiness. Navy officials are already adapting commercial technology through alternative contracts to bypass bureaucratic delays. Good on them. We need more of that. SOCOM, Air Force Special Operations Command, Navy Special Operations Command, or NAVSPEC War, they all do a pretty good job when it comes to acquisitions and alleviating bureaucracy. However, it does still exist. Next, military control of the borderlands. President Trump ordered federal lands near the U.S.-Mexico border transferred to the Department of Defense control, excluding Indian reservations to enhance border security. The order allows Defense Secretary to expel migrants crossing illegally from these military-managed areas. And you're talking about a whole bunch of different areas and a large swath of land. So they probably need the Department of Defense to come in there and help them with that. All right, the off-spray gearbox fix. The Defense Department will implement a fix for the V-22 or the CV-22 off-spray proprietor gearbox by December, addressing defects linked to fatal crashes. The upgraded gearbox using refined materials will be rolled out starting in December, with more deliveries planned for 2026. Man, obviously the CV-22 and the V-22 has had a history of poor performance and a history of, bad things going on. So when they say, hey, an upgraded gearbox, it's like, is this a new thought process, or have we kind of known this and thought about this the whole time, but it was kind of too expensive to actually execute, so we held off and service members lost their lives when money could have been saved, or money could have been spent rather, and these folks are still living. I don't know. That's a tough one for me, especially when I don't even think the CV-22 or the V-22 should exist, but whatever. All right, this is Air Force news. Air Force Academy faculty cuts. The Air Force Academy plans to cut civilian faculty to meet budget constraints, raising concerns about the quality of engineering programs critical for Air Force projects. Faculty warn that losing accredited professors could harm cadet readiness and graduate school opportunities. Completely agree. This kind of goes to that whole taking just a big sword and just cutting shit. Right? You telling me that there isn't other opportunities or avenues to make cuts at the Air Force Academy? Again, I'm outsider, armchair quarterbacking, fully acknowledge it, right? But there's got to be other ways to cut than cutting some of your accredited professors, as long as they're not problematic professors. Engineering is not easy, and we need smart people to be able to do that. All right, next. Academy ends diversity-based admissions. The Air Force Academy has stopped using race, sex, or the ethnicity in admissions, following a February memorandum aligning with Trump executive order banning such preferences. The change responds to a lawsuit accusing the Academy of discriminatory practices. All right, cool. Well, let's see how that works. I mean, nobody should be getting picked up or selected based off of their race, sex, or ethnicity. So it should be all merit-based. Right, pregnant aviator policy reversal. Congressional veterans criticized the reversal of the policy allowing pregnant airmen to fly in their first trimester, arguing it sidelines over 400 aircrew and requires costly requalifications. They demanded medical evidence to justify the change, which the Air Force attributes to its Surgeon General's recommendation. This gives me a little bit of, I don't even know how to say it. We're just going to go off of the Surgeon General's recommendation. Like, the Surgeon General also recommended that everybody get the COVID vaccine too, and made it mandatory for Department of Defense members to get it. So, forgive me, Surgeon General, if I think your credibility is, whether I agree with the pregnancy thing or not. I think we should be questioning anything that a medical provider says and recommends to us, because they have obviously lied in the past. Space Force news, on-orbit refueling experiments. The Space Force is accelerating experiments with Northrop Grumman and Astroscale U.S. to test on-orbit refueling, enhancing satellite maneuverability. Future satellites could incorporate this technology, reducing fuel as a limitation to 10 to 15 years. This is a fantastic idea, and you want to talk about making our current satellites and future satellites operate for so much longer and make them even more maneuverable than they are now. Like, this is great. Data sharing with the intelligence community. The Space Force is improving data sharing with the intelligence community, leveraging existing National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and the National Reconnaissance Office capabilities to avoid duplication. Agreements are in progress to streamline commercial data access and fund transfers between organizations. You, as an outsider, you would think that data sharing and communication between government agencies would be seamless, or that it's like, the Bourne Identity where all these different agencies talk to each other. Well, they don't talk to each other at all. Is it better than it was, pre 9/11? Of course. Is it still awful now? Yeah, it's a freaking joke. You have people within the Air Force, you have organizations within the Air Force that don't talk to each other and that struggle to share information and data because of different systems, much less other government organizations that are doing stuff. Next, SpaceX overtakes ULA for launches. SpaceX has surpassed United Launch Alliance as the Space Force's primary launch provider, securing a larger share of the National Security Space Launch Phase 3 contracts. ULA will focus on high-energy orbit missions, leveraging its specialized expertise. I gotta be honest, I could have seen that coming a mile off. Like, SpaceX, there's no one keeping up with them right now. And it's good on them. Like, I'm not hating on them like that. It is fantastic. And I hope ULA is able to catch up, or will focus on their high energy orbit missions, since that's what they focus on, or that's what they are experts in. Missile warning contract delay. Budget uncertainty has delayed the Space Force's medium Earth orbit missile tracking satellite contract by 3 months, now expected in April or May. The Epoch 2 constellation aims to track hypersonic and asymmetrical threats with up to 18 satellites. Yeah, that's got to be part of that Golden Dome, I'm imagining. So good. We need more of that. These are of interest items. The Insurrection Act deadline. The Defense Department faces a 90-day deadline to advise on invoking the Insurrection Act, which could allow active duty troops to perform law enforcement tasks like apprehending migrants. Unlike martial law, the act involves enforcing civilian laws, last used in 1992 during the LA riots. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the name Insurrection Act that's kind of spooking me a little bit, because of the whole J6 calling it an insurrection, even though, we know there was a whole bunch of FBI agents in there that were stoking the fire. Then you also had the most, if we're going to call them right wing people, right? The most armed people, like they own the most guns in the United States, and not a single one of them showed up with a gun or anything like that. So like it's, and everybody keeps going to that. Oh, J6 was an insurrection and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I don't know. When you name it like that, I'm a little bit hesitant, because what if, somebody else just happens to say, oh, well, this is an insurrection, when it's nowhere near what an insurrection actually is. And then they start using the DOD to actually do stuff. So I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about that one all the way. All right, next, Ukraine peace talks, stalemate. President Trump noted progress in the Ukraine-Russia talks, but urged decisive action as negotiations stall over terms for a ceasefire. Russia's opposition to the Ukraine's potential NATO membership remains a key sticking point in discussions. I don't really blame Russia for being upset about Ukraine wanting to join NATO. For the longest time, we told them that they weren't and that they never would. We said it with a couple other countries too, and then we let them in the NATO. So, I'm not saying that it's good that Russia did that, because they should be out of Ukraine wholeheartedly. But, every country does something that somebody else doesn't like. So that's just the reality of it. All right, next, Space Command location debate. Colorado Republicans are actively defending the U.S. Space Command's current headquarters in Colorado Springs, citing its established infrastructure. Alabama's congressional leaders push for a move to Redstone Arsenal, expecting a decision soon despite Biden's 2023 reversal of Trump's earlier plan. Here's, like I said last week, here's how you'll know if it's actually going to Alabama. Is all that real estate is either going to do two things. It's going to shoot up in price, and or it's all going to get bought up by people. So that's how you'll know. Next, Taiwan's military training overhaul. Taiwan is intensifying military training to counter Chinese aggression, responding to U.S. critiques of unrealistic exercises, increased defense spending, and U.S. support for expanded training aimed to bolster Taiwan's combat readiness. Yeah, we gotta get them ready, because at any point China's gonna roll into that country, and if we're not ready as well, and they're not ready, man, it's gonna be a steamroll for sure. Next, military academies DEI book removals. The military academies are removing DEI-related content from libraries in response to White House orders, raising concerns about overreach, such as briefly cutting Tuskegee Airmen models. Critics argue this reverses decades of diversity progress, while others see it as correcting institutional bias. This goes into exactly what I was talking about for weeks now, is you have malicious compliance. That's what people were doing. You have the innocence part of it, which is people are just doing, hey, Control F, find, replace, and then removing stuff or replacing stuff. Then you have other people that are like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to make this really painful and I'm going to be malicious about this. So yeah, although they are complying with the orders, they're doing it maliciously, and they're overreaching, and they're doing way too much, and they're not truly meeting the intent of what the executive order says. Next, SpaceX NRO launch success. A SpaceX Falcon 9 successfully launched a classified National Reconnaissance Office payload from Vandenberg Space Force Base, enhancing observational persistence. The mission supports the NRO's proliferated architecture and reducing data processing times for faster insights. Cool. Just making it better and better. Proposed space military alliance experts advocate for U.S.-led Artemis alliance to counter Russian and Chinese space weaponization, ensuring peace space use through military cooperation. They argue that such an alliance would be more effective than treaties in shaping space norms and security. Cool. All right, that is the news, and that is your daily drop for the 14th of April. Like I said, if you guys are interested in the Operator Training Summit, that is happening in June in San Diego, shoot us a comment, shoot us an email, Jared, Jared, at onesready.com, and we'll get you sorted. All right, out here. Later.